All right, today on Unpacked, we're gonna take a look at a category of packaging and just kind of see what some of the different brands are doing and what's working, what's not, you know, that kind of stuff. So yogurt packaging. It's a space where we've seen a lot of uniqueness. We'll use innovation loosely here. I think what we've seen is a lot of differentiation and brands trying to do different things to stand out, to create value, right? There is a whole segment of this that is largely commoditized, lowest cost packaging or lowest cost product and packaging. And you know, that's in kind of this base Yoplait or even like Dannon's, just kind of like 4-pack cups and things like that. The cost has really been driven down and simplicity. Yeah, this base material here where we've got this kind of metallized lid on typically a polypropylene cup, which is curbside recyclable, assuming you've removed your little foil lid cleanly from the surface there so you're not contaminating the stream with metal bits, which is something that you'll see largely across here. We've got metallized lid structures all over the place. But if we just kind of go through here, how do we separate these things out? Well, glass, plastic, that's one way to look at it. This We brand, which is this is a premium Yoplait brand, right? We has been one of these fascinating case studies here that we've watched for a while, where they launched this pretty expensive little glass jar. You know, nice little foil lid on this here, but their thing is really about, hey, take this glass jar and go do something with it. Which, depending on your yogurt consumption rate, if you're a daily yogurt consumer, you wind up with a lot of these little glass jars laying around. And there's only so many tiny little flowers or jars of, you know, because it doesn't have a lid on it, but little jars of knickknacks that you hold and organize with these things. They can be super handy and they're super cool, but it's a lot of material. And I think that's where this brand or this product has struggled, is because it's a very expensive jar. And if you consume it with any regularity, you wind up with a lot of these things or you recycle them. And if that's the case, it's a lot of material, but cool nonetheless. And they've done a really good job in the market. Now, if we separate these things out, we've got another divisor here, and that's multi-compartment versus single compartment. There are a number of ways that brands have tried to do this, and we've done a lot of work on it here as well. So this is Dannon's Light and Fit, where they have this topper cup, and what you have is two separate components, right? You've got your yogurt cup filled. This one has a shrink label on it and a little foil lid, and then this little lid here with another foil lid stock on the inside of that. Again, both of these components are polypropylene. Lidding film taken off cleanly, and everything is recyclable. Sometimes shrink labels can be a little bit problematic, but yeah, pretty simplistic. But the other way that brands have done this multi-compartment thing, toppers and stuff like that, that you want to keep usually a dry component, granola, cookie crumbs, candy, things like that. You don't want it sitting inside the product, just becoming gooey like the yogurt. But the other way that we've seen this is in these kind of dual compartment flips, where we've got like a thermoform container here where you peel the whole lid film off and they go whoop and tip this thing into, you got to do it with a whoop, but you got to tip this thing into the yogurt compartment. This is what is this material? This is a polystyrene, which is an interesting move. Not curbside recyclable. What we've got here is just a little pressure sensitive adhesive label that's applied here, and then the lidding film is placed across it. So yeah, there's a number of brands who've done variations on this theme. separating out these three now, we're going to look at these two separate from each other. This is a Multiserve, likely 8 ounces of yogurt versus 4 ounces of yogurt, and therefore requires some level of resealability. That if you're not going to consume this in one sitting, which apparently they're assuming you're not. Most of these, again, you open them once, they're open. You have to think about that when you're designing. Is this multiple use, and how am I storing it? But they've put a lid in here for reuse. Take that off, you peel off this lid that's kept it fresh, and you here have a polypropylene, that's hard to read. Yep, a polypropylene cup, polypropylene lid, and yeah, overall a simplistic tub. These things are stock typically. You know, not too much crazy going on here. And then SIG has a also looks like a thermoformed cup, also polypropylene, also pretty simplistic, although they've done a paper label, and this will kind of lead into the next one, but they've got instructions here. It says, please tear the sleeve off here to recycle the paper sleeve separately from the cup, and then read our story. So they've actually got some copy on the inside written here. Let's take it off. They've used the back of this label, but what I love here is that they've actually thought about sustainability. They've thought about how to separate that label from the cup. And they actually have an interesting cup structure. This here is an anti-nesting feature. It keeps these stacked from like sliding into each other so far that they're hard to get apart in production. Now you know, and the more you know. That is also true here with Icelandic provisions. And this one feels interesting because this is like overall paper, recycled paper and plastic separately, and it says pull. Yeah, that's what I thought was going on in here. And it's an interesting move. Rather than just wrap the cup, they also have included a paper base, and this is made the same way as like your little Dixie cups. And a lot of other paper cups, to be honest, but I always think of Dixie cups, where they kind of take this little paper base and bring it in there and then curl this outside paper around that edge and seam it in there. Interesting though that they've done this, and I'm sure they've done this to increase their real estate that they can label on. See that big old barcode on the bottom there? Most of these brands have had to try and find some tiny place here along the label to put it. Oh, didn't notice that Light and Fit has used a spoon shape out of a barcode, a little shaped barcode. Nice touch. Otherwise, beyond that, it's a polypropylene cup, so it's curbside recyclable, like most of these, other than the Chobani Flip. So yeah, I just think it was worth kind of taking a look at all these different. Something as simple as yogurt comes in so many different packaging formats and varieties, and there's things that we look at. How, can I get all the product out of the bottom? How easy is it to open? Do I need to reseal it? What is it? Multiple compartments I have to keep separate. How am I decorating them? Where am I putting barcodes? How am I applying date codes? Like, there's just all of these different things that we have to think about when we're designing packaging, and this is just a good little evidence of all these different ways to do that. If there's another category you think we should take a look at, let us know in the comments below. Otherwise, get yourself some GERT and party on. Thanks for watching.